three stats which define this problem statement that Mamily is solving.
The problem is 66% young girls are anemic. Anemia is lack of blood in your body. That girl, when she becomes pregnant, so 50% of those girls are being cut forcefully and made to have cesarean deliveries.
Which leads to further complications. So first is anemia, second is cesarean.
Yes. About 96% of women have extreme perimenopausal symptoms. Over 60% women have osteoporosis in our country.
Osteoporosis is bones.
Yes. 25% of global cervical cancer is in India.
This is in that pre-menopausal.
Post-menopausal. Yeah. That the chances become that. So entire journey is broken and
all these numbers are like more than 50%.
The statistics are horrific.
How was it like working with your dad?
A roller coaster, if I had to be honest. The comfort of having a parent guide you, motivate you, financially fund a lot of your experiments and mistakes is a huge blessing to know, somebody has your back.
What did you learn from him? Let's say the top 2 or 3 things.
His biggest was resilience. The good days will last, so will the bad days come. And in the bad times, how to emotionally survive the storm is what I learned. This shall pass, don't quit.
Nidhi, finally we get you on our podcast. This is so cool. And I'll tell you why. Now, before you start speaking, your story is so interesting, and I've known you for almost now 3 years. Your story is so interesting, your energy is so infectious, and I can't believe that this is the first time you're coming on a public podcast.
Very nervous, very excited, Pratham, and very excited to share my journey of women's health with you.
But I know you, the audience doesn't, and I know what an incredible story you have. So I think before we jump into the podcast, I want you to summarize your entire life.
Wow.
In 1 minute for the benefit of the audience. I will introduce you later as well, but I really want to understand from you how you look at your life and not more than 1 minute. Okay.
Wow. Oh, so 44 years in 1 minute.
Yes, 44 years in 1 minute. I didn't want to ask you your age, but sure.
Okay. So 44 years in 1 minute, basically grew up in a traditional Marwari family. Grew up with privilege, learned what was not privileged, studied abroad, came back, been an eternal entrepreneur, been through several businesses, huge highs, huge lows, roller coaster ride. Then got into Femtech, realized the value proposition post 40, wanted to solve for society. And in the last 4 years, been in a journey of really trying to solve a social impact in women's health.
All right. So you've started an edtech company.
Yes.
As far as I remember.
Yes.
You've worked in the family business.
Yes.
Third gen family business, if I'm right. Third or fourth?
Third gen.
Third gen family business. And that's a very interesting story. We'll get to that later. And then, of course, you've started Mamily a few years ago, right?
Yes.
It's been, 5 years, 6 years now?
It's our 4th year started now.
And Mamily is such an interesting company. We are consumers of Mamily at Masters Union. And we have a lot of feedback, great feedback from our team. And we'd love to talk about that as well, right? But I want to first start with what you first mentioned, which is, you're born in a Marwari family. Why did you feel the need to mention specifically Marwari family?
Because I feel traditionally Marwari families are huge dichotomies. While they're very big business houses and you grow up in an environment, you're constantly learning about money, return on investment, how to multiply. But it's also a contradictory where women aren't given that same privilege. So boys are given the privilege to grow businesses and go out and achieve. Girls are given privileges to study, get educated, maybe even study abroad, but are then expected to come and play very traditional roles.
Being a mother and being a daughter, being a wife.
All the traditional roles a woman is expected to play. To turn around and be able to break the paradigm of traditional constructs and try and achieve something is a far tougher journey than what is expected. What a woman is able to achieve, it's far tougher than what a guy is able to achieve because the platform is set for them.
So Marwari dichotomy.
Yes.
That should be the title of this podcast.
Maybe.
Right? Because I am Marwari as well.
Yes.
No, but why do you think that's the case in our community? Why is it that on one side, we are such amazing businessmen?
Yes.
And on the other side, we don't push the women of the household or in fact, pull them back when they want to do something?
Pratham, it's not Marwari families. This is society in general. In my experience as an entrepreneur over 20 years, I think India is a dichotomy by itself. We worship Durga Ma, but on the other hand, we don't value women. I've run a solar business in the past. I was one of the largest solar off-grid portable players. Sold millions of units of solar lanterns, home lighting solutions, solar water cooling solutions. I wanted to, at one point of time, and to the rural-most customers, to support them and get away from kerosene usage, which was so harmful and expensive for them. I remember wanting to buy out a solar chula company because the second largest deaths in rural India was of women was because of the harmful fumes they inhaled from
interesting.
kerosene, because their eyes, their gastrointestinal organs, their female organs would all get damaged. And the survey, we hired a consultancy firm to do a survey, and they came back and said, "Don't buy it," because when men were interviewed across multiple states, a solar lantern for 2,000 rupees, which when hung gives a light to a traditional family in rural India has 5 people. So husband, wife, 3 children. They were like, "Oh, the chula will cost us 2,000, but it only benefits a woman. Ek biwi maregi to dusri aa jayegi." So we value women so poorly. In Mamily also, we've learned that while the problem statement is massive across health, right from menarche, which is the first period, from irregular period, PCOS, PCOD, maternity, parenting, menopause, but it's a struggling sector. Reason being, women are taught to be caregivers, but not to be cared for. And men,
But I get that, but where does this come from? Like, what is the genesis in your head of this thinking, of this
it's
paradigm?
traditional male dominance. So who's a breadwinner is turning around and thinking that they have the dominance because they breadwin, that they have the right to control every decision making without valuing the bread baker. So one is making the bread, one is breaking the bread. But the bread breaker is not given the value. It's, if you go into Hindu philosophy, it's ardhangani, which is 50% role. Ardh means what? Half. So half the role of the man, half the role of the woman. But that's not how it's practiced in life. In fact, statistics show 50% of married women claim that they're physically, mentally, sexually, or emotionally abused by the male counterparts. So it's not Marwadi, it's society. In society, very bad.
And you think it's still the case today in our generation?
In our generation, you're a little younger than me, so things change. I think things are getting better every 5 to 10 years, but the dichotomy is still there. But I think...
What was it like growing up in your household? You know, it's a traditional family business, a very large one at that, and you're third generation.
Yeah.
What did your mother have to see through, and what did you have to see through?
My mother had to see a very traditional setup where everything was about following the rules which my father would lay down or his parents would lay down, play the role of a caregiver to him, his children, and his parents. We used to go and visit her hometown in Assam only once a year. So, a very traditional setup, had literally no say, continues to probably have no say. While we were grown up, because we are only 4 sisters, there were no brother, so we were given a little bit more freedom, so a lot of pressure on academics, a lot of on extracurriculars. We were all sent abroad to study.
Which was probably like a big step in the family, right?
Very big step in the family to let girls go, because
girls go,
usually the money is always kept to get them married off, but not to invest in the education was
So was it
a
your
big
dad
fight.
or your mother who was the force
So my
behind
father
this?
fought for it because he realized that eventually when his businesses will separate from his father and his brothers, he will need his daughters to run it. So he needed to groom us. So we were the privileged lot that got to go, privileged girls who were
So are you almost saying that he had to do it? And had you had a brother, it may not have happened this way?
Probably. Who knows? Who knows? If you ask my father, he says no, not at all. But if you ask me, who knows?
Who knows?
So we got the privilege to study and come back. But when we came back, all the boys were invited to join the family business, and we were categorically told that girls can't join the family business.
Really?
Yes.
This is after you've studied abroad at a
Yes.
top business school in the US.
Yes.
You come back and you say, listen, your business degree is for nothing and you can't work.
Whatever your business degree for, you can join the family business because our family construct only allows males.
But you didn't have a brother, so then?
But there was a joint family business. There were uncles in it. And so that was a blessing. So me and my sister went to our father. I went to my father with 4 business ideas. This is over 20 years back. That time there was no Paytm, there was no Indigo Airline, there was no ISB, and there was no Big Bazaar. I had gone to my father with all 4 business ideas that this is what I want to do, because my sister was working at Accenture. I didn't want to work with her. I didn't want a job. I wanted to do my own thing. For all of them, the investments are very high. For everything, I asked 100 crores.
Good job.
He said, you're 21. At 21, you're not getting 100 crores.
Right.
So then I gave him the study abroad idea, and I brought the Princeton review, and I said, okay, I need 1 crore. So he was like, okay, 99 saved, give 1.
No, what was the idea?
Of the 4 business ideas or the
No,
one
the Princeton review idea.
So we did a joint venture with the Princeton Review. We realized the study abroad market that time was completely scattered, mom and pop joints, your photocopying material of Princeton, Barron's, Kaplan, studying for tests, hole in the wall centers, coaching institutes. So we wanted to organize the study abroad market. So we were the first entrants. We partnered with the Princeton Review, became their pan-India master
What is
franchise.
Princeton Review?
It's the world's second largest study abroad company in SAT, GMAT, GRE, TOEFL, IELTS, admission counseling.
So it's like the Alan Bunsel's of the world, essentially.
Yes.
So you were building a platform where you could send Indians or train them to study abroad at top universities.
Yes.
Got it.
So we took that 1 crore from my father, which he gave, and he said, I know you guys are going to fail, but why I'm giving you 1 and not 100, and it is wisdom, because you're very young. If you lose 1, you won't be so demotivated, but if you lose 100, you'll never be able to stand up again.
Fair.
So from where he came, there was wisdom. So he gave us that. Within the first year, we returned that money with interest. Within 5 years, we
And
gave...
you said we, so 4 sisters?
No, me and my one more sister who was from Michigan, Ann Arbor, and she was working with Accenture. So she and me did this together.
Got it.
Within 3 years, we became
Aradhana.
We became the largest study abroad company. We had 50 centers across. We were studying about 1 lakh students.
I remember you were on the front page of some magazine as well.
Yes, at India Today, I was covered 30 under 30. So we were really growing aggressively and growing really fast. So that helped. Not joining the family business, we carved out our own shell.
So it almost became like a blessing in disguise, as you said.
Huge blessing in disguise, because then we weren't answerable to anybody but ourselves, and we were really able to give back. And by the time our families had separated, so we were really able to give our father a massive return on investment to what he put on us. And I don't know whether the male counterparts were able to achieve what we were able to achieve in that short period of time.
So interesting. This is a great way to resolve family dynamics, right? Which is, rather than just joining your parents or your father, you take a loan from them,
Yes.
set up on your own,
Yes.
so you have no conflict with them or your cousins,
Yes.
right? And then continue building your own legacy,
Yes.
if you will, right?
Yes.
Do you
A lot
recommend
like
that?
you. A lot like you.
But this podcast is about you.
Yeah.
So. But tell me a little bit, do you think others should learn from this story? Other family businesses should learn from this story?
I think other family businesses should evolve to equality. There should be gender equality. Sons and daughters should have equal rights.
Well, let's say that happens,
Yeah.
right? But still, that doesn't take away the chances of conflict in the family business, right? Where the father and son have a conflict, the son and the brother have a conflict, the chacha and the bhatija have a conflict, all of that will happen. But the model that you practiced, which is that, hey, I'm not going to join the family business, but I'm still going to be attached to the family through this cord of sorts, umbilical cord of sorts. That is not a bad idea.
I think every family has to find their own construct on how do you want to imbibe the new next generation, whether they want to join your businesses, whether they're capable of joining it, whether their interests lie outside. And if the interests lie in their caliber, then maybe the family offices can support them. And that's what I think a lot of modern family offices are doing. That if they're either they
Not enough though.
Not enough, and especially not with women. I think women still have and maybe I still grew up in privilege where my father was progressive. He gave us this opportunity. I married a very progressive family where the women are all very, very successful entrepreneurs. But after starting Mamily, my understanding of women in India has really changed. And in fact, in a very misfortunate way, that even when a woman is earning, so like Femtech, what does Femtech mean? Femtech is anything to do with women, whether it's product or services, called Femtech. It's a $500 billion industry globally. Every Femtech company abroad is micro journey. Like there'll be an endometriosis company, there'll be a PCOS company, there'll be a irregular period company, and they'll be valued at a unicorn or half, at least $1 billion or $500 million. But India, the sector is collapsing. Why? Because the revenue channels aren't there. Why aren't the revenue channels there? Because nobody values.
No, we're going to talk about Mamily in a second.
Yeah.
I want to understand you first.
Okay.
Take care. So we have understood your journey till Princeton Review. The company was called Manya, right?
Manya Education.
Manya Education.
Yeah.
How many students did you train through that experience?
So I ran that for the first 3 years with my sister. By the time we were 50 centers, we were sending about 1 lakh kids abroad to study.
100,000 kids abroad to study. Amazing.
And after that, she took over that business. She continued running it. I joined the family. Then by the time my father had separated, so we were in joint venture with Matsushita in a...
So you ran the business with your sister for a while.
Yeah.
And then why did you join the family business back again?
Because by the time my father had separated and he needed somebody to come and join with him, the FMCG business.
Got it.
So
what was this business?
So we co-own Nippo Batteries, which is the second largest battery torch company. It was in joint venture with Matsushita.
The blue
and
batteries?
the Reddies, yes.
The blue ones.
Yes, now yellow. So
now
it was
yellow?
blue at one time, then it became yellow and gold.
Okay, so it was a Japanese company that you had a joint venture with in India.
Yes. So it was co-owned by the Reddies from South, the Matsushita and us. So I joined our distribution arm. There I created my own baby care distribution arm. We were the largest distributors in baby care. So distributed brands like Nubi, Pigeon, Feel Free, Fisher Price, Avent. Mother
So
Care.
Fisher Price, I remember that. So that was yours?
So we were the master distributors for a lot of these brands, brought them.
Wow.
So we became the largest distribution house because we were able to reach 5 lakh outlets directly and through retail, wholesale. So we had distribution even deeper than P&G. One of the largest, deepest distribution up till rural India, covering up to 2,000 population villages. So any brand that wanted to enter India in the traditional times needed deep distribution. We were the easy one-stop shop versus the cost of setting it up on their
And this was part of the family business.
no, so with my father, but
Your
it
father.
not part of the larger. By the time we had separated, so I was very involved in the FMCG business, set up that. We did a shaving joint venture with American Safety Razor Company, which was the second largest shaving company after Gillette. We set up a factory. We were growing very aggressively at one point of time in Big Bazaar and modern trade. We had 30% market share. In hotels, we had one of the largest market share. Our brand was called Glide, which I created from
Glide.
scratch. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Everyone's heard of it.
Yeah.
Of course. Nidhi, I didn't know this about you.
Yeah, so it grew really well. We were growing very well. And our value proposition was that we would give a more closer shave at 20% cheaper than Gillette. But what ended up happening after some time, then Gillette got bought over by Procter and Gamble, and that changed negatively for us because Procter and Gamble dropped prices very aggressively.
I remember
They
that.
changed packaging, quality, and then the cost. It became a cost barrier for us to sustain, and then we weren't able to sustain. So we had to then shut off that business.
So how long were you in the family business?
I did that all up till COVID before I started Mamily.
So almost like 10 years.
No, over 15 years.
15 years. Wow.
Yeah, 4-5 years the education business, then 15 years the FMCG business, where I did the solar, the baby care, did some side experiments over there. Which
How was
did
it like
work.
working with your dad?
Roller coaster, if I had to be honest. The comfort of having a parent guide you, motivate you, financially fund a lot of your experiments and mistakes is a huge blessing to know, somebody has your back. But also, obviously, it's difficult to draw the boundary in a meeting from a professional meeting which gets personal. And a parent will always think, however old you are, they'll treat you like a child. And that generational gap, ability to accept change and move change also comes in. So, it comes in a packet, but I learned a lot, I grew a lot.
What are some of the stories you remember from that time working? Were there any conflicts?
There were huge conflicts. We would have board meeting battles, were completely playing out in the boardrooms.
Paint a picture of one of those boardrooms.
Those are not very pleasant memories. But we've had very interesting. So we grew very aggressively in solar because we were able to divide and roll. I was focusing on the sales. I was focusing on the product development. He focused on finance and ensuring that there was constant money because. So we worked very closely with microfinance. So we were working with all NBFCs, microfinance, CSR foundations, NGOs. So we built a huge cross-sell business. So apart when we were giving solar, we were able to sell in bicycles, TVs, washing machines, mobile phones. So there was constant pressure on capital and rotation of capital. So he focused on getting that. So we, as a team also, we worked well then, that he constantly ensured that I never had to worry about.
What did you learn from him? Let's say the top 2 or 3 things, very actionable things that you learned from him.
His biggest was resilience. Life's a roller coaster, and the good days will last, so will the bad days come. And in the bad times, how to emotionally survive the storm is what I learned. And
Okay, how do you learn what did you learn about emotionally surviving the bad times?
that this shall pass. This shall pass. Don't quit. Don't quit. You can survive. You can pull through.
That's easy to say, right? How do you practice that?
You show up. You show up at work every day. You can't sit at home and turn around. You can't quit. You're the boss. An employee has a luxury to quit and say, okay, I'll try my luck somewhere else. But as an owner, you don't have the luxury to quit. You show up the next day. You got to be the brave one. You got to face the storm for the team. And you got to take it on your shoulder and say, we're going to ride through this. Let's think. Let's strategize. And that's what I learned from the older generation. Ability to withstand storms. Ability to turn around and survive downturns is what makes you survive. And once you survive the long term, the ups come, opportunities come. As long as you keep yourself humble, as long as you keep your head on the ground, as long as you're in touch with your teams, the market and reality, and you're willing to hustle and you're willing to survive, you'll make it. At the end, when you reflect back, you're like, the mistakes and the failures were huge stepping stones to the success that you get today.
Easier said than done, Nidhi. No, like, I mean, all of this makes sense, right? And I agree with that. But still, how do you develop the muscle to be able to ride this storm, right? How do you still show up the next day? And you were saying it's easy for the boss to show up, but the boss has to show up, I understand, but still many bosses also quit. Where is it that you build this resilience, or your dad built this resilience, or Marwaris as a whole, as a community, have built that resilience?
I was just going to say that I think it comes from being the pedigree of family that you're born in. I think in different families, different values are discussed, and that's what you absorb, what you absorb from the family. I think in Marwari families, and you'll agree, that all the time we're listening to business conversations of positives and negatives. So you're seeing how your family is being resilient through ups and downs. And when you see that, you imbibe that. You absorb what you.
It's generational almost.
It's generational. It's getting diluted. I feel every generation is diluting their resilience ability, and we must learn from our parents and being able to survive.
Do you think we also enjoy the ups and downs? Like maybe not in the moment, but reflecting backwards. Like, you have been through tough times. I've been through those tough times. Like looking back, we're almost enjoying them, like almost it's like a guilty pleasure a little bit, right?
Every high of my life has come after a huge fall.
Yeah.
And if that fall wasn't there, I wouldn't have
Enjoyed that high so much.
I wouldn't have made those changes which led to those highs.
Nice, yeah.
So yeah, when you're struggling, you're in pain, but when you reflect back that pain, now it sounds like pleasurable pain.
Fair. All right, understood. So, interesting family business journey, lots of ups and downs, 15 years of working with your dad. Was it tough for you as a woman to earn the respect of the team members that probably worked with your dad for ages before that?
Huge. First, I worked with my sister, so that was, sister dynamics at home versus sister dynamics at work were very different. Then working with my father. And yes, when I started the business with him, there was absolutely resistance because all of them had been there for 30, 40 years. So they treated me like a child. And they had no respect for a girl coming in.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
They were also all probably Marwadis.
majority. You're right. Yeah, so I hired a good HR person first. Took one of my dad's senior-most people in confidence, who's like a father figure to me, had groomed me a lot, was a scientist, and we worked towards. We made a hit list of people who we wanted to replace, and one by one we replaced all the old fuddy-duddies who were obsolete and who needed to be changed, and who were just in the system because they were in the system, and then gotten fresher talent. And then the fresher talent, obviously, about who I wanted to bring in. So it took 1 to 2 years to understand the depth of the business, bring in change and bring in culture, and then the results also spoke. So I think a guy gets, as I said, a pedestal is put on for them and they're expected to perform. A girl has to come and keep performing again and again to revalidate her existence. She has to reprove herself again and again and again. And every success is taken for granted and written off, and every failure is really over highlighted. I feel for girls it's a lot more tougher. Business is tough. Being a female entrepreneur is that much tougher.
Wow, makes sense. They say that the first generation builds it, the second generation consolidates it, and the third generation destroys it. You and I are both third generation.
Yes.
Is that a lot of pressure?
There used to be. I think something happens when you turn 40, and I think what COVID turned, I don't work on pressure anymore. I'm working, and I left the FMCG business. And for me, that pressure there was extreme pressure, and I realized that nothing was worth that pressure anymore. I wanted to do what was cathartic, what came closely to me. I had a near-death experience in COVID. For me, my daughter, I didn't think we would see the light of day. That changed a lot. There's something changed in me. I changed my ikigai. I couldn't work under pressure to get validation from the external environment. I wanted validation for myself on what I define, and I wanted to continue working. I felt I had a skill to give back, but I wanted to do something. So I've always been a social entrepreneur. One is with education, then the solar business. Being in the baby care business gave me a lot of statistics about women's purchasing powers, lack of purchasing powers, decisions. I started reading a lot about femcare. Somebody gave me the idea of it. I realized that there's a huge problem statement to be solved. Nobody in India was doing it.
I want to double click on that.
Yeah.
So 15 years of family business.
Yeah.
When did you decide to not continue that anymore and then move to Mamily?
Right after COVID. Right after COVID, right after the Delta wave, where I felt I was almost going to die. My daughter was going to die at the same point of time. Our oxygens were dipping. Like we were really like unwell. So when I recovered, I was all the money in the world couldn't have saved. So I said, life is so short. We think anyways, everybody knows that you come with a return ticket and we are going to go. But that return ticket could be a lot quicker than we think. And you might not have a long run. So you should, at least I said, when I come from a little bit of privilege, I should turn around and do what really could give impact back to society. And when I researched about femcare, I realized that this is a huge opportunity in terms of a massive problem statement, if the statistics are completely broken, if I could tell you in 2 minutes what happens in each journey, in a girl's journey. So when a boy, he's born, he hits puberty, he lives his life, and then it's end. In the girl's journey, she's born, then she goes to her menarche, which is the first period. Then she goes to a maternity cycle if she gets pregnant. The entire parenting pressure comes on her. Then she hits menopause, and then she goes to senior care. So it's a huge journey in a woman's cycle. All modern medicines are based on male biology, which is very testosterone driven, while women have estrogen and progesterone, and it's a very different journey. And the problem state, it's a roller coaster life in hormones. We have far more hormones than men have, and that's what helps us make babies. And in each journey, it was a fragmented journey which needed to be consolidated. We had episodic care. And
where did you find this problem statement? Like, how did this come to you?
actually, one of my colleagues in my FMCG business came and suggested it to me in the baby care business. He said, look, how much product are we going to sell? And that time at 2021, it was all a GMV game. Traditional businesses like us who were focusing on healthy bottom lines were totally getting a beating because every startup was funding money for every 100 rupee turnover, spending 400 on marketing. It was a race to the bottom on just bleeding and fundraising. So that was like, yeah, this doesn't make sense to a traditional entrepreneur, which we have been taught to top line and bottom line.
Yeah.
But at that time, startups were just mushrooming everywhere. And it was only top line and top line. So and that is something I could not get myself to adapt to. I only wanted to build businesses which had healthy bottom lines. Because I feel a fundamental of a business is profitability. So somebody gave me this idea, and I was just recovered from COVID. I was like, look, this sounds a problem that I would like to solve. And that's when I went into the data. When you go into a woman's early cycle.
But was it also informed by your own experience as a mother?
Absolutely. In fact, in Mamily, I can tell you, I'm going and pitching to the top corporates, insurance companies, brokers. Lo behold, if there's a woman in the room, 9 out of 10 times she has cried in the meeting. Because when you hear about the story, you hear about the journey, every woman has a trauma journey at some point or the other, and she relates to it. Every woman. And then they come out, they take me in a corner, and they tell me their personal story. And then it's so relatable, and I can understand why they're emotional. When you talk about the journey, it's something so cathartic because every woman's journey is so deep and so profound, and she's not been able to share it. And when she's given a platform to relate that, yeah, there are other people who've been through this, they feel cared, they feel tended and befriended, and they feel, yes, this is my problem, that somebody's there to solve it. And that's what we're trying to solve in Mamily, is don't wait till you go for episodic care. Don't wait till you're broken. Come for continuous care, preventive care. You're not only a caregiver, you deserve to be cared for. Whether you're having irregular period, whether you're having PCOS, so just to give you some statistics, in PCOS, we have about 40% plus women who have extreme PCOS symptoms. 66% of girls are anemic in the fertility age. When you're anemic, you miss school, you miss college, you have weakness. That same girl, when she goes into a maternity journey, in a population of 1.4 billion, we still have a very high infant and maternal mortality rate, still one of the highest in the world.
How much would that be?
About the last statistic, I said about 20,000 children die every day. We have about 60 to 70,000 children born every day.
So a third, huh?
Yeah. Over 50% women are giving birth to cesarean. Sections were formed in Greece. It was after Julius Caesar. And it was formed for emergency surgeries. WHO says that a country that has more than 10 to 15% of cesarean births, it's harmful. Why? Because it's an emergency. But in India, over 50% babies are born via cesarean.
50%?
Yeah. In Orissa, Bihar, Telangana, it's over 80%. When you cut a mother, it's long-term harmful effects of the mother and child. So while we are very male-dominated, but the male is being born by a woman. And if you're cutting the mother, you're harming the mother and child for life. So over 85%.
So the child has been born. I mean, what changes?
No, but when you're born from the vagina, you're getting the micronutrients that form your immunity for life. So whether you're being cut from the stomach or whether you're coming out naturally from the vagina, you're missing the nutrients that form your immunity for life. It's called the golden birth hour for a reason, because that's what forms you for life. So that's how you protect the mother and child. But it's broken. 22% women have postpartum depression in India. Not curing postpartum depression leads to long-term anxiety and mental disorder. That's why they say women have higher EQ, they're better multitaskers, but they also have more neurons and nerves that makes them more prone to depression and anxiety disorders. So if they're given a system to survive and cope, then they're able to really thrive.
Essentially,
And just to tell you, the anemic girl who was at 66% women are anemic in their fertility area, 56% women in maternity are anemic. So you can see it correlates. So anemia being the underline, and anemia because of lack of nutrition, lack of awareness. And an anemic mother has a high probability of giving birth to an anemic child. So over 50% of children in India are anemic. And that's
These
why
numbers are crazy.
yes, very statistically alarming. So either we are an obese nation, or we are a malnutrition nation, or we are stunted. We're a stunted country. Everybody's short. I mean, you, me, we all are shunned to our European counterparts and
Yeah.
American counterparts, all because of generational malnutrition, lack of awareness. Look at what's
interesting.
happening. Look at what's happening with children. 1 in 100 children are neurodivergent. 1 in 25 are showing signs of ADHD, OCD. When I was growing up, we didn't know these terms. So it's alarming. 25% kids in India between.
So we understand the problem statement. I
Yeah.
mean, you've given us way too many statistics
Yes,
to
yes.
digest.
And it goes worse in parenting and as bad in menopause and perimenopause.
Give me
Entire journey.
3 stats that I should take away from all of this, and you can repeat the ones that you mentioned earlier. 3 stats which define this problem statement that Mamily is solving.
I'll tell you 4 stats. One, infertility. It's because in a younger girl, the problem is 66% young girls are anemic. And
So what is anemia? Anemia
is lack of blood in your body, and so
that's because of lack of nutrition.
Lack of nutrition. That girl, when she becomes pregnant, and then she's cut. So 50% of those girls are being cut forcefully and made to have cesarean deliveries,
Which leads to further complications. So first is anemia, second is cesarean.
Yes. And then when you turn around and take that girl, goes into a menopausal, which starts from 35 to 45, 25% of, about 96% of women have extreme perimenopausal symptoms.
And what are the symptoms of that?
Fatigue, the multiple vaginal dryness, a lot of symptoms that can be handled with nutrition. We still about over 60% women have osteoporosis in our country. 25%.
Osteoporosis is bones.
Yes. 25% of global cervical cancer is in India. 1 in 4 women getting cervical cancer. What is
This
going
is in
wrong?
that pre-menopausal.
Postmenopausal, yeah.
Okay.
That the chances become that. So entire journey of a women's health.
That's number 3, 4.
Osteoporosis and cervical cancer.
Okay, third and fourth. Got it.
So entire journey is broken and fragmented.
All these numbers are like more than 50%.
The statistics are horrific. The problem statement is women are not educated and aware of their problems. They are taught just to keep quiet and to keep suffering. And men don't want to pay for women. Even
so all of this is
women.
actually a product of our culture, society, what you were talking about earlier, in a way.
It's a shallow society.
But these stats are not true in other countries? In other
Much
like
lesser.
developed
No, it's
countries?
true in other countries as well, but lesser. So other countries like in America and all, now this is cesarean birth rates are coming down because they're creating lots of awareness. So in developed countries, the statistics are way better. But in developing countries, they're as bad.
In India, are they getting better? Last 10 years, have they gotten better?
The maternal mortality rate has definitely gone down. The government has worked very aggressively in trying to create safer delivery platforms for women and resources. So maternal mortality, infant mortality rates are going down. But all the other statistics are becoming worse. Whether you're talking about cesarean birth rates, whether you're talking about children breaking down, you're talking about anemia, you're talking about mental
Those are
disorders.
getting worse, huh?
They are perimenopausal. Yes, the statistics are getting worse because there's stress, lifestyle, pollution, lack of awareness, lack of care. We really need to create preventive care.
So you're saying some of these metrics were better in the 50s when there was no medical system?
Yes. But, they were natural deliveries, no? Because there was no doctor getting incentivized that if you cut, you get an incentive. So they were sitting at home and you're darkening the room and creating environment for a woman's labor hormones to get developed so that she actually pushes out a baby. The right diets were being given. So there was a lot of Garb Sanskar being practiced and Garbahar and Garb Yoga. When you go back to ancient science and practice a lot of ancient science is what we're trying to do at Mamily, is to build in holistic care and to build in natural ancient sciences together to create preventive care versus episodic care. Go to a doctor when you're broken, don't break. Don't reach OPD, don't reach IPD. You can create a holistic platform for you to thrive versus just survive.
Okay, so I think the problem statement is clearly established. And I know you're very passionate about it. We can all feel it,
Yes.
right? In how you're speaking about this. I mean, it's a huge problem. It's a generational problem. It's a national problem. I would say it's almost a pandemic. I mean, it's bigger than a pandemic. 50% though, it's...
COVID came and went. If we don't solve, 2/3 of world population is mother and child. If you don't look after them, then what society are you building for?
So what are you doing about it?
So what very small role what we're trying to play, I think it'll take hundreds of Mamilies to solve because this problem is not for one family to solve. We're going into preventive and holistic care. So we're trying to go in the root. So we've hired a bunch of scientists who are going into the soil topography of every state, trying and understand the soil nutrients. So give nutritional advice to first try and solve anemia based on your income, based on your soil nutrients and your food type, so that we can help solve that. Then we're giving you evidence based information, articles, courses, workshops to increase your knowledge quotient. When your knowledge quotient goes up, you're more aware, your cortisol, your stress hormones go down. When you're more aware, you'll take better informed decisions. Then we're giving every person, like an internal medicine doctor, your own nutritionist, your own mental health practitioner, a senior psychologist. We're giving you senior gynecologists who are not going to be involved in your delivery or any other part of your journey, who are giving you unparalleled free advice.
So it's almost like an app where you have an elder sister who has been through everything and who knows everything, advising you every step of the way how to prevent the anemia issue, the nutrition issue.
Everything. It's your ecosystem to give you one-on-one help through different experts, evidence-based fact-checked information, a community to chat and from peers so that you don't feel alone. 20% of first-time pregnancies are miscarriage. So you don't feel isolated. You go into a miscarriage group, chat with others. You have a neurodivergent child, go and chat with other neurodivergent.
So community.
Different communities for different life stages. So for you to tend and befriend, lots of webinars and workshops for you to learn, increase your knowledge quotient.
So let's say I'm a young
Parent.
I've just gotten married, let's
Yes.
say, and now I'm planning a child.
Yes.
What does my journey inside the Mamily app look like?
So you will come into our fertility zone if you're looking to become a parent, if you're a young couple. So there's a lot of Ayurvedic and natural scientific ways to cleanse your liver, to be able to detox, so that because every human body was designed to be fertile. So we help you get fertile, get fertile
So
again.
in the app, you'll give me advice, like step by step, what I have to do.
There'll be week-wise articles, videos, courses. There'll be do it for yourself, affirmations, health trackers, live sessions as individuals or couples to come and do strength training, hormone trainings, hormone balancing, yoga, strength training. There'll be a lot of webinars to attend, appointments that you can book in, a lot of communities for you to chat in and find your peers, attend a lot of micro topic webinars that might be very specific to you, of your interest. So it's an ecosystem, your safe zone for you to come and find what you're looking for across the life stage of a woman and as a care partner. A man's role is as important. In fertility, we're helping the couple get rebalanced. In a maternity zone, we help a couple. We're helping the man also, a role of a father in pregnancy, how to plan, how to support your partner. In a menopausal journey, how to support your partner, how to understand. So it's a woman's company, but in the paradigm, a lot to do with the male counterpart. If there is a male counterpart in your life, how can they add value and be part of that journey?
So it's
And for a
almost-
parent,
yeah.
you're an equal parent when you become a
No,
parent.
understood. So it's basically like what Practo is to, general health. Like if I have a cold, I go to Practo.
Episodic care.
Episodic care.
That is, you go when there's episodic care. We're coming for preventive care that you don't get a cold. So what are the
But
things?
do people in India or generally across the world, human behavior wise, do people do preventive care proactively?
In the Western worlds, yes, because corporates are realizing it's so expensive when a person misses work. Insurance is realizing the cost of paying for you when you fall sick and land up. So they are spending tons of money on
In
preventive
episodic care.
In preventive care.
So
because
that
they
they-
don't land up in episodic care. Plus, what insurance sector and all are realizing that earlier an average human lifespan was 60, 70. Now we're living 80, 90, and they're saying we'll live till 100. So then you'll be more of a burden because if they have to pay for your insurance, so the more they're investing in your preventive health, that's why insurance companies are coming with policy, we'll refund your money if you're doing 10,000 steps a day for 300 days a year. Because they want you to be healthy, because the healthier you are, then the less you'll land up in hospital and the less you'll claim and the less burden you will be on their cost, because it's a game of redemption for them. So Western worlds are all evolving on preventive health. It's the developing and underdeveloped countries that are struggling to adapt, and that is why you'll see all investments are either running to fertility clinics or hospitals.
Yeah.
Because Indians, we have the lack of purchasing power, so we're only investing in episodic care versus understanding that we can prevent episodic care if we focus on preventive and holistic care.
Got it. Do you have the app on your phone?
Yes.
So Nidhi, I would love to get a tour of the app, what it actually looks like for a user. Can you just help us understand the entire user journey?
So Pratham, this is the Mamily app. You click on the Mamily button. You choose your journey. So suppose you're choosing a pregnancy journey. go to the home screen. When you log in, actually you've entered with your last monthly period, or you've entered your expected due date. So it'll enter your name. So hello NM, based on your expected pregnancy. Suppose I've entered I'm 33. It will calculate how many weeks pregnant you are. So it gives you personalized information for what's your size of your baby, what's the height and weight of your baby that's growing in, some information. Here you can create a memorable journal between you and your baby and your partner. You go back. Here, as I said, anemia being the underline, we have your care guide, who's your central care guide, who's going to look after you. You book your appointment with your expert for having unlimited appointments so that they can track your journey. You log in for yoga depending on your trimester. There are over 24 slots for first, second, third trimester, live environments for you to do it individually or with your partner. Then you come down, week wise articles, videos, workshops for you to. We don't want you to get overwhelmed, so we're giving you the right information that we think you should know. Uh, then, what are the webinars, upcoming sessions coming? Conscious baby, how to develop a spiritual baby, warding off anemia during pregnancy, getting birth ready. So, all based on your journey, information coming. The most answered questions are around labor and birth. So, we've created. So, my co-founder Divya Deswal, she's India's first water birthing expert, craniosacral therapist, trauma therapist, pre and perinatal coach. So, she's created all information, articles, videos for you to know around breastfeeding and newborn care so that you're not misinformed. A lot of guided meditation when for you to connect with your baby. So the more you meditate, your cortisol goes down, the more oxygen you breathe, the better development of the baby's brain. 80% of the baby's brain develops in pregnancy. And if you want more information, you can go to the Knowledge Hub and get all the information and articles, videos on different topics of your choice. Then, when you go up, you go into online sessions. Again, what are upcoming sessions, pre recorded sessions. Then you go into Garh Sanskar, which is the ancient science of womb engineering. So, depending on the month of your pregnancy, you can hear to different ragas, mantras, which helps build connectivity with your baby, helps building bond. There's a lot of chatter which says that, our ancient Rishi Munis knew which organ develops in which month. So different rags and mantra which helps in better development. Garbh Samvad, and there's Panchatantra stories. So how do you connect with your child? And there are trackers, a medical record tracker for medical professionals to track with you and you to track, lifestyle trackers for you to know what is your emotional quotient and your other quotients, your relaxation. Uh, for us to know your weight, your blood pressure, different, so that we can track with you. And then you go to connect. Here you can connect with different people, know what's being asked. There's a constant chatter going on for you to feel connected. All is being done peer to peer group, but moderated by experts. Then comes special interest groups, or whether you're having gestational diabetes or miscarriage, so you don't feel isolated. You can join groups on special sections. Then you go to the care section. Here you book your appointment with different experts based on your need. Here you log in and you can upgrade to different packages, basic to premium packages, as low as 99 rupees a month. And here you add your partner. You're able to play around with your settings. You can change your journey. Suppose if you want to go to the fertility journey and you want to know about, so this prenatal yoga becomes into wellness journey. You're able to log in and do strength training and for hormone balancing. Online sessions become power of gut health, power of safe sex, how prevention is better than cure, safe sex, different parts of reproductive health, upcoming sessions. Stress, as I said, women are more prone to stress, so we've created different modules on stress management to understand physical, cognitive, emotional, and sensory stresses so that you can understand and manage your stresses better. Different trackers, here comes for this journey becomes ovulation tracker. So based on how you enter your information, uh, your the settings over here change. You manage your symptoms, how you're feeling, your breast tenderness, nausea, emotional. You save it so that we and our experts can track your journey with you. Then you come here again, week wise, what to eat, you, your partner, your male partner, preconception, maintaining food diary, food supplements, male fertility nutrition, activities to do to calm your mind. And then again, here comes a community section for you to again connect with different people from the same community so that you don't feel isolated. and special interest groups when it comes to infertility or assisted reproduction. And here again, you can book consults with different professionals, Ayurvedic doctors, gynecologists, mental health practitioners, upgrade your packages. So on different journeys, whether pregnancy, parenting, irregular period PCOS, midlife, or general women's health, whatever life stage you're on, Mamily is your one-stop shop for you to get continuous and holistic care.
No, very interesting. How long have you been building this now?
It's been over 3.5 years. Our fourth year just began 1st April.
Awesome. All right. And what's the vision now looking forward?
Vision is to keep building. The problem statement is large. What I have found, a lot of earlier we had a lot of competition. Majority of them died because they were VC funded, and VC funded, it's impatient capital looking for impatient growth and success. As I said, women's care is tough in India because the business economics aren't the strongest, because women don't care for themselves and people don't want to pay for them. So I feel that much more passionate to keep building and solving. And the way we're building, we're constantly developing into more research, AI. We're getting the best experts to guide us, help us, because they realize we're building with a lot of passion, a lot of commitment to solve micro journeys in women's health from severity to scale for larger cohorts of the country. It's constantly building, solving, reducing our price points, because you can only create impact when you do micro distribution.
So how do people find you? How do the women find the app? What is the exploration?
They can go on Play Store and App Store and download.
But how do they even know that it exists?
So we advertise on Instagram, Facebook, Google. We're working very closely with all the biggest health insurance companies. We're working with insurance brokers, health tech partners, direct corporates, so that they give it to the employees spouses.
And how much does it? How much do you charge each customer?
The pricing can really vary. On a retail app, you can go as low as 99 rupees a month.
Oh, wow. That's it.
Yeah, as low as that, and going up to maybe 1,000, 1,500 rupees a month. So the solution's on your price point. Unlike a Netflix where they give a one episode free and 95% you pay for, what we're really trying to solve is, this is a huge problem to solve, and we realize that monies are a concern for people to pay. We're constantly dropping our price and expanding the value-added services within that price so that mass information can be distributed. The more you inform, the more the knowledge quotient goes up. The more knowledge quotient, they won't get cheated. They'll focus on preventive health. The problem is huge, but the solutions are very easy. So if the solutions are followed by all, that's how you create a generation of healthy women, healthy children, healthy families. What is broken can be fixed back. It's broken and it's getting deeper.
I understand the impact, Nidhi. How is this as a business? We are sitting in a business school, and it's only relevant that I ask you about the business of it all.
So for now, last 3 years, we've only been investing in the business. This year, I think we should be breaking even and getting profitable, and then hopefully keep getting. Yes, this is a business. It's a social impact business. All stakeholders should benefit, which is first the end user, the health should benefit, then the sponsor, whether it's their family that's sponsoring it, or the corporate or the insurance company. Next is the value add. Obviously, the employees at Mamily should get a return on their effort because they will work really hard, and the shareholders of the company. So the expectation is that slowly and steadily it will be a valuable business. But
how many customers come directly to you? How many come through insurance companies, and how many come through employers?
So overall, right now we're serving about 2 lakh families. The exact split would be between retail, insurance, and corporates would be 30-30-30, an equal split coming.
Okay, got it.
But as we grow, our expectation is to grow more B2B through our partners, because that's when you can hit mass scale at a very fast pace.
Got it. And so, there's this concept of lifetime value, right? And it's 99 rupees at the minimum, right? You mentioned per month. Let's say the average is what, 300, 400 per user per month?
For a retail average user, the payment is 6,000 rupees.
Per month?
No, in the lifetime value of 4
the
months.
LTV, okay. On average, is LTV for consumer is 6,000 rupees?
No, actually LTV will be higher because we are seeing a huge uptake. So usually when a person is coming in the fertility journey, once they get pregnant, they're staying with us in the maternity journey, then they're staying with us in the newborn care journey. So when they're coming, we're finding that they're staying. So the LTV is much larger and longer. Once they've come, 25% of our payments are upgrades. So that shows that they were happy with us and they wanted more services from us.
Got it. No, understood. So you said 6,000 rupees LTV, probably let's say approximately 8,000, a little bit more than 6,000, 8 to 10,000.
6,000 per average revenue per user, but the LTV would turn on and be at least 12 to 15,000.
12 to 15,000, got it. And from corporate, that would be slightly lesser because it's subsidized.
Yes, the corporate subsidizes, but then they give us minimum guarantees and bulk payments.
Got it. And insurance companies, how do you work with them? What's the business model there?
Both. So we work with retail insurance, group health insurance. So they embed our solutions in multiple health solutions that they're coming, whether it's for family health or for women's health. So in the retail products, they bundle us in. In their group health products, they're bundling us in for their group insurance. So we work with them in the digital products, through the wellness arms. We work on cross-selling and upsell multiple solutions. We work a lot with banking and insurance sector as well.
And generally, let's say, talking about the unit economics, if the LTV is, you said, 12 to 15,000 rupees, what is your cost of servicing that LTV? What is the cost of acquisition? And what is the margin that you make in the end?
Right now, we're not making any margin in the end. As I said, we're still investing into the
That's fair,
business. The cost of customer acquisition, without giving specifics, the cost of customer acquisition through retail is very high. And that's where the distribution models come in. Because when you partner with insurance companies, group brokers, insurance brokers, and health tech partners, then there is no cost of customer acquisition, because then they are acquiring the customer on your behalf. And cost of customer acquisition is almost 20,000 rupees for a paid user when you advertise through Facebook and other social media platforms.
Wow, so it's expensive.
B2C is very expensive. And
so you have to basically focus on insurance companies and...
B2C in healthcare, I would assume you talk to any entrepreneur, they'll say it's a loss-making proposition. Because as I said, in India, we don't value preventive health. We value episodic health. We're happy to go and invest in a hospital versus focusing. So you'll find every healthcare company that you will invite on your podcast, they'll say we focus a lot on B2B, because B2C is
it's too expensive to acquire.
Nobody in India is making money in B2C, in healthcare.
So what would be your advice to, let's say, a young founder who's just out of college, looking to build something in healthcare? Would you advise them to work in preventive, even though it has huge impact, but it might be a loss-making proposition for a very long period of time?
It's a very tough journey. It's very tough. I won't mince my words. I've been able to do it because I've been able to fund this from my family office, and I have the patience and ability to be patient to solve for society over long run. So if you're able to have that patience in terms of time, effort, and capital, because bills get paid only with money, then get into it. It's a great cause to solve. Is it a difficult cause? It's a very difficult cause, but it's very cathartic, because when we see the kind of engagement and impact we create on users, women are writing us, I survived because of you. Thank you. I mean, at 44, being a mother of 2 children, I'm working harder than I was at 21. Not because money is such a motivator, but because the impact it creates is so motivating. So come with it with the cause of social impact, long term, have patient capital backing it, because this isn't a this isn't a Zepto or a Blinkit in making, if I had to say.
But okay, I mean, you're not motivating the people to start up in this, for sure. What is one redeeming factor? What is one thing if you can get right, you can do well in this business?
If you can get mass distribution, if you can get distribution, you can get your product embedded in a lot of solutions and create a lot of impact. Because when somebody will embed you once, they will only renew your contract with you if they find people using it. So if you're able to find the right price point, embed it, drive the right engagement, right health impact, then it's a huge winning model. And that takes time to figure out. It's taken us about 3 years, and we're still figuring our way out. So it's a great business to be in from solving a problem. Will it be a huge business in 5 to 10 years of time? Yes. But you have to come with that patience. So I'm not demotivating, I'm giving the reality picture. Come with patience
to solve. It's not as straightforward as D2C. And D2C has its own complications, but it's not as straightforward.
It's not
You'll have ups and downs. You'll have to figure out distribution.
You're creating the road. The road is on women's health. If somebody asks you what's your next 3-year revenue plan, I can't predict that, because I'm paving the road. It isn't a product of a shampoo or a cream that I'm selling that you can say, okay, this is the size of market and I'm capturing this much, because you don't know what the offtake is going to be.
Did you think about going international, because their preventive is a little bit more focused?
We want to hyper focus, because the minute you go international, it's very culturally sensitive when it comes to food, problem statements.
It's not the same product.
Yeah, emotional wellness. You have to be culturally adaptable. How a Middle Eastern family functions, or a South Asian family, or American, your culture, your social paradigms are very different. India itself is a planet. If we can turn around and solve even for 5% of this planet, this is in my lifetime, that will be a mission well accomplished. So we really want to hyper focus in our country, in our ethos, understanding.
You're distributing through employers, through insurance companies. But I'm guessing that only covers the top 5, 10, 15, 20% of India. What happens to the bottom 80%? How do they access your product? I mean, they can't afford, let's say, you said 15,000 rupees LTV.
No. So when we go through insurance companies, our solutions are as rupees as 10 rupees. 10
But you
rupees
have to
for
be
life.
insured for that. But let's say someone who's living in, and someone who's truly anemic, who truly has those problems in, let's say, deep villages of Rajasthan, how do they access something like
Those
this?
have to be solved by Government of India through Ayushman Bharat. I did meet the health minister, MOS health minister last week, did have a deep discussion on this. That's what I said, it take hundreds of families to solve this. It's a big systemic problem. It's far bigger pandemic than COVID. If you see the systemic failure that we are dealing with. And yes, right now, we are trying to solve it. Yes, right. For corporate India, we're trying to solve for retail, when the user has to be able to pay, at least has to be of a middle income family. Below that, we don't know how to. I mean, the ability to reach scale will obviously require a lot of government support for reaching impact at those levels.
No other way to essentially do it.
It has to
Would
be
you,
done
would you
through a
make your
lot
app,
of.
let's say, free?
At some point of time, maybe when we're profitable, we can turn on and come up. So 20% of my family budgets are always for CSR. So yes,
Right.
we can work with CSR foundations to make it multilingual, to turn around and give vernacular audiences a lot of the services for free. Absolutely. The intent of Mamily formation was to do extreme social impact at extremely affordable rates for the masses, and maybe for even below them for free. Why not? Why not partner with?
Or maybe like a freemium version where part of the services are for free.
Why not partner with NGOs, CSR foundations? Would be happy to partner with the right.
But let's say like a woman who's never been to school, again, as I said, in a deep village in Orissa somewhere, right? Almost, let's say, tribal. Now, they don't have even phones, let's say, for a second. I mean, now everybody has phones, but let's say they
Everybody
don't.
has a digital phone.
Is your app available in Hindi and local languages?
By the end of this year, we plan to be vernacular across all major languages.
And do you think the user experience, etc., would be attuned to someone like that audience using it?
I don't know. That's a very big question. As I said, people, my experience, I've worked in the rural sector across our FMCG businesses. The lesser the education, the lesser the ability to understand a problem statement, and the lesser the ability to change and understand that there's a change that's required. You're right. But government has a lot of schemes. Pradhan Mantri Yojana. They have these ASHA. They have 10 lakh ASHA workers. I would love to partner with them for the ASHA workers. Train the ASHA workers that they can create that knowledge, whether it's through digital platforms or non-digital. But at least train the trainers who are looking after them at the NGO level, so that they can create this information. It'll take, as I said, this is a game of, look at the size of 1.4 billion. 50% of the 75% are mothers and children, women and children. So it'll take a lot of people to solve this.
No, makes sense. No, we really commend you on what the work that you've been doing. 2 lakh families is not a small number to impact, and doing so in a market that costs 20,000 rupees for a customer, and then making your way through insurance companies and corporates. And I'm sure that B2B is also not as easy as you make it
Not at
out
all.
to be. No, great learnings, Nidhi. What are some of the things that you do today to keep yourself updated with what's happening in the world? How do you get your news? How do you get new learnings? You're a busy woman. You also have a family that you have to balance.
Subscribe to a lot of health tech newsletters, in touch with a lot of experts in India, globally, so that they're constantly telling us. We have a lot of extremely prominent advisors and experts that are helping manage our clinical journeys, managing our business journeys. So they're constantly educating us, making us aware. In a tech venture, if you're not constantly on your toes, you finish. So not only constantly upgrading our app through newer tools, through better UI, UX, but service deliveries, content, courses, workshops, and also constantly training our team on what's changing. Health doesn't change because a human is a
Biology
human.
doesn't
Biology
change.
doesn't change. But how to reach the user and service them keeps improving. And what we're realizing, people's attention spans. Earlier, we were creating a lot of courseware. We realize now we're reducing our courseware into a lot more videos, shorter videos, engaging videos, getting the same message across, not diluting the health impact, but making them a lot funner so that people understand the concept quicker and faster. So even if it's a serious topic, but getting the message across in a funner manner.
Understood. Nidhi, thank you so much for this lightning round almost. I personally learned a lot about an industry I knew nothing about. And I really hope that this podcast inspires a lot of potential founders to start thinking in this direction. I think this is
Would
an
love to
area.
invite all of them to come work with us, not to go separate. This is a mission we all have to solve. Let's do it together.
No, absolutely. And as you said, 50% of India is more than 50% of India is affected by at least one of the problems that you're trying to solve.
Yes.
And we really hope like all the success to you. And
Thank you.
Let us know how. Let us know if any of our students can come in and intern with you. Most importantly,
Would love
as
to.
you start doing more vernacular stuff, I think some of our students can be really helpful there.
Would love that.
Awesome. Thank you, Nidhi.
Thank you
so
Pratham.
much.
Thank you.